Chelsea's pre-season, painful viewing. And it really hurts me to say this, but the truth is, I honestly now think that Chelsea will lose to both Everton and Tottenham at the start of the Premier League season. We are all over the place. It's really worrying. And look at what happened when Chelsea played in Orlando against Arsenal. Arsenal scored 4. Chelsea scored none. That is completely unacceptable. And if you want to sugarcoat it by saying that it was a friendly or it doesn't really matter, there is a truth in that, a semblance of truth at least. But the reality is it does matter. The reality is it is significant. And this is a worrying time for Chelsea. And one of the biggest worries, finished 4-0 to Arsenal, and it could genuinely have been more. They were cohesive. They were together. They were a team. They looked sharp and up for it and hungry. We were a rabble. We were all over the place. We were predictable. We were lethargic. And it's a real worry as we move towards the season. The season starts in 2 weeks. And it's all very well for Thomas Tuchel to look upset and look moody and almost blow his top in the presser afterwards. But he needs to take responsibility. He needs to take his share of the blame. I honestly don't understand why people don't ask any questions about Thomas Tuchel. He seems to get a pass. And yes, he is a very astute manager. Yes, he has done wonderful things for Chelsea. And no, I obviously don't want him replaced. But he needs to take responsibility. Chelsea haven't looked sharp for ages. We have looked all over the place for ages. And we have gone on a pre-season tour and we have won 1 of 3 games. All these games are against beatable opposition. And we have won 1. That is absolutely unacceptable. We have scored 3 goals in 3 games, and we haven't kept a clean sheet at all. But this almost brings me back to Tuchel now. Listen to one of the sentences I said there. I said that we have scored 3 goals in 3 games. So obviously not enough. That is absolutely below par, completely unacceptable. And then we have to try and understand why. Why are Chelsea finding it so difficult to score goals? Why are Chelsea finding it so difficult to put the ball in the back of the net? Why are Chelsea finding it so difficult to create serious opportunities? And the reason is because we don't have anyone who can score goals at the club. Sometimes football can be very complex and you need to rely on the science in the game, the data in the game, the heat maps and whatever else you want to look at, the analytics. Sometimes there is a place for that. But sometimes football can be very easy. 2 and 2 makes a Christmas cake. Get a geezer on the pitch who scores goals and you will score goals. None of our players on the pitch have a natural aptitude to scoring goals. Michy Batshuayi this tour has been an abomination. It has been almost comical watching Michy Batshuayi play for Chelsea again. It is totally and utterly unacceptable. Timo Werner was brought in. Timo Werner isn't good enough to play in the Premier League. Why he is still in and around this team, I do not know. Why he is on this plane and out in America representing Chelsea, I do not know. He is obviously below par. He is obviously not good enough. And he is obviously going to leave the club. He has made it clear he doesn't want to be there. So why waste our time persevering with him? Why do we have this time waster? Why are we wasting our own time? It's not beneficial to him. It's not beneficial to anyone. But if Chelsea go into a season with Timo Werner as our goal threat, the season is over before it's begun. He needs to leave the club. He is abysmal, truly abysmal. I mean, I thought we had it bad when we had Morata leading the line. I thought we had it bad when we had Chris Sutton leading the line. I thought we had it bad when we had Gonzalo Higuain in the team. But this is something else. This is truly appalling. People will constantly make a case for him. Well, he works hard. I don't care how hard he works. It's that Chris Rock line. Stop expecting praise for doing things you're expected to do. You're expected to work hard. I don't care. Score goals or get out, and he can't score goals. But this brings me back to Thomas Tuchel. Chelsea don't have a proper forward. One of the reasons is because Romelu Lukaku didn't work at Chelsea. And while I hold Lukaku completely accountable for this, the manager's responsibility is to get the best out of his players. I always said it about Arsenal with Aubameyang. I thought Arsenal made a mistake letting Aubameyang go, and I said that it was Arteta's responsibility to get the best out of one of his better players. Therefore, that has to be the same at Chelsea. Thomas Tuchel's responsibility was to get the best out of Romelu Lukaku. He couldn't do that. Thomas Tuchel's responsibility was to get the best out of Tammy Abraham. He sent Tammy Abraham to Italy. He sold him. He didn't put Tammy Abraham in the squad for an FA Cup final where we lost, where we didn't score, when Tammy Abraham got us to that final. These are mistakes that Thomas Tuchel was making. And for some reason, and I can't quite put my finger on why, it's a conversation that isn't had. We won't talk about this. We don't acknowledge that Thomas Tuchel is making errors. We don't want to talk about the fact that Everton had a better home form than Chelsea last season. We don't want to acknowledge the fact that in 2 consecutive home games last season, Chelsea conceded 4 goals to Arsenal and Brentford under Thomas Tuchel's watch. I have to reiterate, this isn't me saying I want him out. I'm saying that there is a genuine conversation to be had here. Not about his future, but he does need to elevate the standards. And him looking moody at the players, you took them there. You sent Billy Gilmour home. Billy Gilmour wants to play for Chelsea. Billy Gilmour wants to be there. Marcos Alonso doesn't. Timo Werner doesn't. Cesar Azpilicueta don't. So why are they there and Billy Gilmour's on a plane home? It makes no sense. And yes, there are other outside factors that have made life very difficult for Tuchel at Chelsea. But he has also made mistakes. If he had Tammy Abraham in this team, Chelsea would be a better team. The reason that we don't have Tammy Abraham is because of Thomas Tuchel. So I really don't know how we expect to be ready. The season is around the corner, by the way. I feel like everybody's been quite lax about when the season starts. It is upon us. This is it. This is pretty much the insight now. Everything that we know about Chelsea now is pretty much what it's going to be. Yeah, signing may arrive. I think we desperately need a striker. The one good thing that can come from being slapped up against Arsenal is the fact that Hans-George Weiss and Todd Bowley and Clearlake generally were all at this game. So surely they are looking at the way that Chelsea played and the lack of any kind of penetration, the lack of any kind of cutting edge, the lack of any kind of ingenuity, fight, tenacity, spirit, heart. These words are words that you need. Diego Costa leading the line. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank leading the line. The silk of Gianfranco Zola. The guile of Ida Johnson. What have we got? What have we got up front? It's truly ridiculous. The only good thing is our 2 big money signings. They haven't played 60 minutes between them. So there is a chance that we can elevate. But something really does have to give here. Something really has to change. And when the people with the money are watching Chelsea play there, they have to be looking at what Gabriel Jesus did for Arsenal. What Odegaard did for Arsenal. The way that Jesus finished that. There wasn't a player on the pitch that could do that for Chelsea. There just doesn't exist. So something needs to change here. And there is so much dead wood. I'd say there's about 9. Why is Ross Barkley there? What's he doing? There's obviously no room for Ross Barkley at Chelsea. He's obviously not capable of playing for Chelsea. And I'd say there's about 9 players that need to leave. So it's really, really worrying. We were so slow to act in this transfer window, and this now is the product of it. I don't even agree that it's only pre-season, because I've seen Chelsea have a terrible pre-season before, and we finished 10th that year. I think that you can read something into pre-season, and obviously the objective of pre-season is fitness, match fitness, working out particular formations ready for the launch into the Premier League season. But I am worried, and we're not in a great place, and this is going to be such a tough start to the season. Worried about the Everton game. I know they've had their own problems in Minnesota, but I'm really worried about the Everton game because we just look a shambles. And then we play Tottenham. And any Chelsea fan who's optimistic about that game. Antonio Conte, dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. Anyway, I'm probably going to go live to talk about this over on Twitch. So if you want to join on Twitch, make sure that you follow me over there. I'll put the link in the description below. So click subscribe on here if you haven't yet. Love to hear your thoughts as well. Am I overreacting, or do you think I'm onto something? Let me know in the comments below. See you in a bit.